Hello and welcome to K-Stop Fuse's K-Pop podcast. How's it going, everybody? I'm Jeff, and I'm joined by the woman more popular than honey butter chips, Tina Zhu.
Hey, y'all. Thanks for joining us this week.
Yes, thank you very much for joining us this week. We had an awesome show last week where we talked about a lot of awesome topics, and it got a great response from you guys, and we're really happy that you guys are still listening along and joining us every week. Yes. So we hope to keep it up every week. So let's get into what you guys had to say about last week's episode, first and foremost, because like we always say, you guys are as much of the show as we are, and that's why we encourage you to interact with us in so many ways that you can. You can leave a comment on the stream page on fuse.tv/KStop, where you can find every episode. You can leave a comment on iTunes. You can use the hashtag KStop on Twitter. So many different ways.
Or hit us up individually on our Twitter handles.
Yes.
We love your comments.
Yes, we do. I am at Jeff__Benjamin.
And I'm at Hey_Tina with 3 A's.
Yeah. So the first comment we wanted to get, this one got, I saw this one on the hashtag KStop hashtag, right? On Twitter.
Yes.
And this is from Danielle, who's at YellerVan, and she was responding to us talking about Ravi from Vix's mixtape last week, which, if you listen to last week's episode, included an adorable segment of Tina fangirling over Ravi. It's my favorite part.
I was trying to actually forget that ever happened. Listening back, I was like, wow, I really sound like a crazy fangirl. Like I was about to lose my shit. So
it's probably my favorite moment of K-Stop.
I'm glad everyone else found it amusing, even though it was slightly horrifying for me.
No, I saw a lot of positive feedback about it, seriously. But Danielle wanted us to know that, and she had some interesting insight because she actually watched Ravi on Show Me the Money, right, which was this hip hop focused competition that was shown in Korea, and then international fans can also see it too. But she wrote to us that Ravi didn't get any respect on Show Me the Money because he was an idol, basically, or otherwise. So featuring Show Me the Money rappers on his mixtape may benefit him more than them, which I thought was an interesting analysis because we were really intrigued and really, we really respected how he had these indie rappers and people who were coming up and up on it, including the winner of the show, that season. So Basic. So it's interesting to hear this side of it from someone who was watching it as well.
Yeah. I mean, I think that it's mutually beneficial, for someone who is a, I guess what we call an idol. He is able to help these, up and coming rappers get more shine and, get their material out there. But also I think he's very aware of his abilities and very confident and knows where he kind of stacks up against other rappers. And to have these contestants whom he was eliminated or eliminated from the show before or I guess, what am I trying to say? Like previous to them. Yeah. In earlier episodes, these contestants are now, or these former contestants are now on his mixtape. Yeah. So it's kind of like, hey, I might have been eliminated, but I'm still, on par with all these great rappers, and we're all collaborating and we're all mutually supportive.
And he can almost give a very different platform than the other guys might have had too. So it's kind of, I would agree. That's a good way to think of it, is that, it's mutually beneficial.
Yeah, and I think that now that the mixtape is out and everyone's kind of doing their own thing, people aren't necessarily thinking back like, oh, he was eliminated this round and he was eliminated this round. I think that show was just a good platform in general to get all these names out there, and now it's just really cool to see what they're all up to.
Yeah, so, and that show, Show Me the Money, is supposed to be coming back soon, I hear. So it'll be interesting to see who else gets to break out from that. Word. So thanks, Danielle, for the info and the comment, and thanks for listening. Also, we got another response to what we were talking about. We talked about Yuna's solo song, which was about Yoksugung, I believe I'm doing my best there. Stonewall Walkway. And that was, we talked about how it was this historic, famous place in Korea, where couples go and they, shop, and it's a historic site as well. But at Beaches on the Sky on Twitter let me and Tina know directly that she's wrote, just listened to episode 6 of K-Stop. It was great. Thanks,
Thank
first
you.
off. Oh my God. And then just additional trivia on Yuna's solo. There's a myth that if lovers walk along Seoksegung Stonewall Walkway, they'll break up. And the song actually turns that around as they state a promise to not let the myth happen, and they'll stay together even while they're walking along it.
Oh, that's an interesting tidbit that we missed out on.
Yeah, I had no
Yeah.
idea. It's kind of, granted we didn't grow up with this historical site and know
right.
the myths and everything, but it makes the song a little more intriguing in my
Oh,
opinion.
absolutely. It definitely strengthens the concept even more. And we
Yeah.
even talked when we didn't know that little tidbit, we still thought the whole concept was really
Yeah,
cute
we
and
liked it.
well packaged. And I think this really adds to the whole storyline.
Yeah, and it's such a reminder of like how I love when there's like little like secret tidbits like this in case
Yeah.
stuff.
I like when artists, put thought into things.
Yeah, it's nice. It's like a nice little a little tidbit. So thank you
Yeah.
to Beaches on the
Yeah,
Sky.
thanks for that.
We would have never known. So thank you. And last but not least, we have one more comment that we wanted to respond to. This is coming from at What Will Said on Twitter, who wrote to us and said that what concepts should we be seeing more of? He really liked one group in particular. I'm not going to spoil it too much, but we're going to talk about them later. Who cares? I'm going to spoil it. He really likes Red Velvet's current concepts, and he said he really likes what they're doing. What concepts should we see more of? And then also he wanted to know what concepts should be retired. So
when we're talking concept, are we talking just stylistically the look, or are we talking sound?
I think
Or like a
it
mix
could
of
be, I
everything.
think you should answer that however you want, Tina.
Okay. Well, I was thinking more just wardrobe and styling. So, I mean, I'm just not a huge fan of the whole like short mini skirt aegyo look. And I think that's very overplayed. But it's also like
Yes.
when you're a girl and
The
they
cute.
want you to debut or come back with a more feminine look, that's usually just an easy
Yeah.
look concept to go to. I just don't think it helps you stand out very much.
Yeah.
So I'm not a huge fan of the cutesy aegyo look.
Especially lately. I feel like we've been seeing it a lot. I was going to go
Right.
to that too. Like
Right.
it just feels like every new girl group is
Right.
kind of coming out with this very like, Aegyo refers to sort of like its best translation is cute in Korea,
Right.
but like it's a very specific kind of cute. It's like very playing off
Right.
childishness, like
Right.
youthfulness, but like very young. And it's
Right,
almost,
right.
in my opinion, it gets a little tiresome because sometimes you have these women who are over 18, over 21,
Right.
like still kind of needing to play into this whole
Just kind of the whole like I need to be taken care of, and I'm like
it's
a
not
little
very
kid
empowering.
and things like that. So, but I think. It sells and it works, and
Yeah.
it's just if you play it safe, that's a good, look to go with.
It's something very specific,
Yeah.
specifically that works in a very
Yeah.
specific scene.
I personally love Brave Girls comeback concept.
Yes.
I love anything that's a bit sportier, a bit
Yeah.
edgier, maybe a bit more masculine and
Yeah.
empowering. And they took something simple, and I feel like it's low budget, like not in like a
Right.
cheap way, but it's like. It's efficient.
Hey, it's a sports
like,
bra.
Right. Like they're in like Nike gear, but they still look
Yeah.
sexy. So
Why
yeah,
not?
I love that.
I agree. I think the kind of the buzz term or
Mm-hmm.
whatever right now is called girl crush concept in the
Okay.
sense that it's like a more fiercer like
Yeah.
even girls would like crush
Oh,
on
girl
that.
okay.
Do you know what I'm
Right,
kind
I
of
hear
talking
you.
about?
Yeah.
And I'm a big I'm seeing more and more of that, and I like more and more of that. I think I
sure.
think just like a little stronger, like empower
Right.
your fellow woman. Like I'm all for it.
Right,
Granted, we're
yeah.
talking a lot about women right now.
Mhm.
In terms of men, I like seeing the much more slicker looks, much
Yeah.
more kind of put together. For a while there were some questionable haircuts for the longest time in
Oh,
K-pop,
yeah.
and I feel like we've grown and we've
Yeah.
evolved past this.
Right.
And
I'm
I
not
would-
a huge fan of, I guess, like the mushroom cut look.
Oh, never.
I feel like I've seen a few of those recently. Not
Really?
a huge
Oh,
fan. Yeah, I don't know. I also just like when like I loved when Girls' Generation did The Boys, and they each had their own
Oh,
look.
Very
And they their own
individualistic.
individual whatever outfits they wore. And I feel like with groups, they tend to all dress the same,
Yeah.
and they want to look cohesive. But you can do that without everyone wearing the exact same thing.
And I think that's kind of like a marker of like a good group or a good concept or whatever, is when everyone can stand out in their own way,
Yeah.
but then it somehow all is pulled together. Like
Right.
somehow the boys, it was very different, but it also was very together. I don't know. That
Exactly.
stands
That's
out
one of my
to me.
favorite Girls' Generation concepts.
Yeah.
It's very modern and edgy.
Do you like the song?
I love the song. Don't
Oh,
get me
really?
started. I love both the English and the Korean version, which usually I don't say because I feel like sometimes in English to me,
Yeah.
it sounds a little awkward, like
Yeah.
some parts. But yeah, I thought that was definitely a solid concept overall.
Hey.
Yeah.
Love it.
Thank you for
Yeah.
that question. That was
It's a good question.
Yeah.
I love that question. So
Just
thank
because
you.
concepts is such a big thing in K-pop promotions.
It's such a big thing, like even, for those who don't know, like it's kind of almost like one of the, when a artist might, announce their new album, in K-pop, they usually announce the like concept or what look
Right.
or what style they're going
Right.
for. It's very, usually you wouldn't, more or less, what you're getting when like
Right.
when Beyonce announces an album,
Right.
But this was kind of, it's kind of very unique to K-pop. So
Right.
great questions from you guys. And, please let us know what you guys thought about these topics in particular. And then always hit us up no matter where you may find yourself, whether it's on iTunes, on Fuse.tv, on Twitter, wherever.
Yes.
We're listening. We're watching everywhere. So let's get into some music.
Let's do it.
First and foremost, this one's really fresh, really hot right now. These guys are currently in the top 10 of US iTunes overall album charts, which is
Yeah,
pretty
that's
amazing.
incredible.
Not many
Oh, yeah.
Korean groups, to be honest, not many Americans even make
Right.
it that high.
Yeah.
But here's a K-pop group doing that. This is none other than GOT7 with their new EP called Fly. And the title track is called Fly.
Yes.
Obviously. And here we are. Tina, you literally like called me out when you first heard this, and you're like, I digging it.
I stood. So Jeff and I sit across from each other.
Yeah, we
So
gotta
I
get a
like
photo or something.
actually stood up and like slammed my hand. I was like, Jeff, have you heard this yet? It is amazing. Like it got me from. Well, I watched it. Sometimes like when there's a new song, I'll just listen to the audio by itself.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll watch it via the music video. And this time it was through the music video. And so it got me right away. Like the opening scene. I love like that clean, like I think they were on like a runway.
Oh,
Like an
I thought it was a
airplane
desert, but
runway,
or
or maybe they were in a
Might be an
desert too or
abandoned,
something.
Like airline. or
Yeah,
what's it
I
called?
don't know. They were
Runway?
on some sort of pavement.
Yeah.
And I love Jackson, so he kicks it off.
Yes.
And I didn't know he was that smooth with his choreography. But I love the look. I love the sound. It kind of has this electric dance R&B sound to it. And we talked about this, Jeff, how the song reminded us a little bit of BTS's Run and I Need You combined.
Yeah.
And but it's interesting because I didn't really like BTS's Run that much. And I realized it was maybe because of that high note that both I Need You and GOT7's Fly has. Like GOT7 has that falsetto
Yeah.
from Junior in the chorus. And maybe I just really like that falsetto thing that certain songs have, and that's what draws me to those songs.
That's
So
interesting.
that's what I really, really loved about the chorus for this song. And
That-
I know that you are kind of maybe iffy at first.
Sure. So I first when I like started listening to it, like the verses were like incredible. I was like, I am so into this. Like I loved those verses. I gotta say though, I love what they did. There's a lot of like I did a little review on I did a review on Fuse.tv. So there's a lot of like mishmashing of genres going on, and it's really impressive how like there is that electronic soul R&B thing sort of going on. And of course, I don't think it came together as well as I would have imagined. That such a strong opening
Okay.
comes together, and sometimes that's for the best. It might just be a little jarring
Right.
at first, maybe to my ears.
So you like JB's part. Like the
Yes,
opening.
yes.
Okay.
The opening, the verses
Right.
are killing it.
I love
JB,
JB. Yeah, he
who
sounds
are
so
my
good.
initials, JB. So
That's true.
I
That's true.
I always gotta give a shout out to the J's.
Yeah.
But I don't know, something about it. It didn't wholly connect with me.
Okay.
And I've been on
That's
a
fair.
GOT7 like kick lately, like
Yeah.
Just Right and If You Do.
Mm-hmm.
Those were like some of the best like boy band singles I think of like last year. Like
Yeah.
they took a moment. We both really like their
That is,
single.
oh my gosh. I did not think that I would like a GOT7 song more than I like A, but this is right up there. I think it's tied
Oh,
right now.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, and it might just take a couple more listens. This has just come out
Mm-hmm.
very recently. It might just take a couple more minutes for me. But did you listen to the rest of the EP?
I actually have not.
Not yet.
So you might have to give me a quick preview on your thoughts.
Well, I was gonna say there's the standout in my opinion is this track called "Begging on My Knees."
Okay.
Like once again, the lots of
Sounds
just
so
like punchy.
desperate.
No, I mean right. It keeps reminding me of the new Brandy song. You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about? Begging and pleading. But
Right,
anyway, I
right.
keep thinking it's gonna be that one. But that's another standout in my opinion. Just very
Okay.
punchy, very good R&B in my
Okay.
opinion. I have to say I really enjoyed the If You Do If You Do was the single, but Mad was the
Okay.
EP, and I really enjoyed that EP. Lots of like variation, lots of different things going. Almost kind of like the single. I didn't feel like the EP lived up to what I wanted it to
Okay.
be. Maybe I'm being a little too harsh on GOT7. I don't know what's going
Yeah.
on. But clearly they're getting a lot of response, like a lot of hype.
Right.
Even if you look at, I'm sure they'll do
Right.
amazing on our chart section.
Right.
But
Do you, so between like something more colorful in terms of music video aesthetic, comparing A and Fly, which one do you prefer? Because Fly was definitely much more clean, muted. It wasn't like an explosion of color. Because
the actual music
the Fly
video.
music video.
I
yeah.
liked those really, which is apparently a runway. The music video, I
It
called
is
it
now.
I called it a desert. I was like, they're in a desert.
They're in open space.
I don't know what deserts look like apparently, but but I loved those really clean shots.
Yeah.
Like they had a lot of like really slick choreography.
Oh, yeah.
Like like all like the angles. That was really
Yeah.
cool.
I like their little like flying wings
Yes.
look, but it wasn't like lame.
no,
They pulled it off. It looked
yeah,
cool. So
exactly. And but I did like the A, like they were actually that's a girl from Twice actually who they were like kind of flirting with.
Oh, yeah.
That I believe her name is Sana.
Mm-hmm.
Fun fact: I took a quiz once. Which member of Twice are you? And I was her. Anyway,
Really?
Yeah. No, just saying.
That's awesome.
So all the
I need to
GOT7
take
guys
that quiz.
want me. Anyway, no. But I think, but then I don't know. I got a little confused at the GOT7 video because then there's like candid footage of them like,
Oh,
and then they're like flying
Right.
in the air, which
Right.
wasn't as cheesy as I thought it'd be.
Right.
I love the choreography scenes
Right.
of Fly,
Right.
and then I love the actual like fun scenes
Right.
of A.
The
more.
random insertion of B-roll that was
Yeah.
a very, or Selka or whatever, that was
Yeah.
very, very random.
I
but
wonder if they like ran out of footage or something. They're like, uh-oh. No, I'm kidding.
let's serve
but
some face in here.
yeah, I was just kind of
Random.
like, huh.
Yeah.
But yeah, GOT7, they're doing really well on the charts. I would love to see, usually groups that, it doesn't always happen, but usually groups that debut in the top 10 of like the iTunes chart can make it onto the Billboard 200. And no JYP act has ever gotten on the Billboard 200 charts.
Right.
You remember Wonder Girls.
Right.
Did that on the Hot 100 singles chart, but the albums chart hasn't seen a JYP act yet. And of course, we've seen SM groups and YG groups and even BTS.
Oh,
but
that's very exciting. We will keep an
so
eye out.
I'm really rooting for them.
Yeah.
I would love to see, and they're
Well,
going to be here soon.
Whatever, disregard what Jeff said about all that nonsense. I think it's a great song.
Yes, support that. I want to see them supported. I'm sure it'll grow on me. I'm sure next week I'll be like, Tina, you were so right. Cool. Another group that's just released recently is none other than Red Velvet.
Yeah, we've
who-
gotten a lot of interest and
We did.
feedback and comments about their comeback. so.
Yeah. Red Velvet, of course, the newest girl group under SM Entertainment, who are under Girls' Generation and, all these FX, all these other longtime groups, but they're the new ones. They released their latest song, It's called One of These Nights. And this group, I think this is such a cool idea. And it's very like K-pop, and I love that they're really sticking to it. Is that they have their Red side, which is like the fun, peppy side. They released an album called The Red last fall that included like all these up tempo, really like fun songs. And then they have the Velvet side, which is their more like sensual R&B leaning side. So the new EP is called The Velvet, and the single is called One of These Nights. Now, I'm very curious what you thought of this one.
Okay, well, I think I'm in the minority when I say this, but I did not like the song when it came out. I did not like it. I thought it was just so slow and boring. And I took a few more listens, and it's grown on me like all of like maybe 4% or something.
Oh my gosh.
It's like, I get it. It's like the dreamy kind of fairy tale like vibe that they're going with.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, I just can't see myself listening to this in like maybe any sort of setting. Maybe if I'm just like laying on my couch and like sipping a glass of wine or something. I don't know, but there are like so many other songs I'd rather do that to. So I checked out the rest of the EP, and I think the rest of the EP is dope.
Interesting.
It's like it has that kind of like more 90s R&B vibe that I like. This one I just felt like it makes me sleepy, and I don't like that.
I thought it was a really curious choice to choose this as the single,
That's what I'm
especially when you
saying.
had all these other, there were a lot of interesting plays on R&B.
This song sounds like a deep cut, y'all. Like, why is it the title track?
I think, you know what I think? I think they wanted to make something striking. In terms
We almost
of,
just
like,
flipped the table
oh
over
gosh,
right now.
yeah. This is like our biggest danger. Is
Right.
This
It's
table.
this table's a little not rickety, but it's unstable
uneven,
or something. But
I know. Don't worry. I'll make sure it doesn't flip. Also, my foot is falling asleep. I'm struggling.
we're struggle boating
this
right now.
episode. No, I agree. I honestly listened to it the first time, and I thought, I'm really kind of shocked that they're going full on ballad with this.
Right.
Granted, and almost so much ballad. Like I kept expecting like a beat to come in, and granted the beat does come in at like 1:30.
But it's so
I'm
subtle.
Like, that's the thing, is that like it took me a moment. I was like, wow, it's like taking so long for this like beat to even come in. Now, granted, I gotta say, now I really do like it.
You do like it? Okay.
Because like I don't know, just it really did grow on me. I think I can't even really put my finger on the structure of the song just yet, even having a week to like live with it or whatever.
Right.
But I think there's so many, like Wendy sounds awesome. Like she's
I was
got
about to
some
say,
really nice
I do
tone.
like her verses or lines.
Yeah.
I think she sounds great.
I think especially when that beat kicks in, I'm like, oh yes, like take me away.
Yeah.
And I keep, I've been actually kind of like trying with my like R&B friends to like get them into it. Haven't gotten the greatest response yet, but
it just sounds sleepy. I feel like maybe they went with this because it was the most velvety sounding one.
Yeah,
and they're like, we really want to just like
yeah,
amp up the velvetness because that's what
Right.
their next concept is,
Yeah.
and have it be like totally opposite of what the red was.
exactly. And even if you remember, like the group keeps trying to show these like different sides, and so far the red side has been more successful. Like even if you remember when they did Ice Cream Cake, they also promoted the song called Automatic. They released a music video with it, but Automatic really got like shoved to the wayside.
Right.
And that was the velvety one. That was the R&B,
Right.
like the sensual
Yeah,
one.
I think in K-pop generally the slower, more R&B ballad based tracks are never they're very rarely the title track. Sometimes they'll
Yeah.
simultaneously promote, an additional track, and they just
Right.
perform it on music shows, but it's never, the star
Yeah, and
star
that's
single.
right. And that's the thing too, is that usually the people who are finding success with these kind of tracks stick to these kind of tracks.
Right,
You look
right.
at someone like Zion T, who we'll talk
Right.
about later, and people, 100% people like that. They kind of have that sound. People know to look to them for it. It's a little trickier when you have like an idol group
Right.
who is.
I thought it was really risky, but it seems like the general response has been positive, however.
I think so. I'm curious to see how it does in Korea in particular.
Right.
I think they have established themselves, so I think yeah, but I
Right.
mean, there were really cool songs, like you mentioned. Cool, Hot, Sweet Love is
That
like
one's great.
really
I love
fun.
Light Me Up as well.
Light Me Up
Those are
sounds
so
like a
good.
song we could hear from like some experimental sort of alt
Yeah,
R&B
yeah.
person.
That's why I was so surprised when I was skimming through the
Yeah.
rest of the EP. I was like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Who
right.
made this call?
Who made this call? So it's very interesting. Quick shout out to Fuse.tv. We made a quiz recently called Which Red Velvet Member Are You? So if you guys are a fan of Red Velvet, please check that out. You can find that, we'll make a link to it on Fuse.tv. And did you take it, Tina?
I have not. I'm very, very intrigued by
Wow.
this quiz.
Shading my quiz. No. Just so everyone knows, I am Joy, which I agree with. All right, moving on.
Moving on.
Real quick, we want to give a shout out to Dean. Dean released Dean had a huge week this past week. He played South by Southwest. Mm-hmm. We're gonna actually talk about South by Southwest a little, K-pop at South by Southwest a little later in the show. But he released this. He premiered the song actually. It's called Bonnie and Clyde at South by Southwest. And we wanted to just give a quick shout. This is going to be included on his new album. It's called the album is called 130 Mood, TRBL, which might be trouble or treble. I can't really tell what he's going for there.
That's very complicated.
Yes.
I'm glad you read it because I didn't know what it was. So.
But Bonnie and Clyde is the song we heard now.
Yeah.
And we wanted to discuss that a little real quick because Dean had a big week.
Yeah. I don't know about you, but I'm digging this song.
Yeah.
This is more my vibe right now. I feel like he's kind of... a lot of artists are writing that whole experimental alt R&B vibe.
Yeah.
And some people don't like that term since, some people are more like purists or they don't like to label things. But it's the kind of like that. Well, when I was listening to this, I was like, this kind of has that Anderson .Paak vibe to it.
Yeah, you said that.
Yeah, and then I was like, and I was digging it. And then I was kind of, looking on his website, and he has some like additional behind the scenes clips you can look at. And then what do you know? There was a clip with Anderson .Paak, and I didn't know that they had collaborated together.
Which is so cool.
Yeah, and the song is called Put My Hands on You, I think. And they sound so good together, and I was just very surprised by that. So I'm really, really intrigued by his upcoming, CD album.
Yeah. But I think Dean is killing it. He's got a lot of cool things going on in particular. He kind of came out of nowhere in my opinion.
Yeah.
Or like, he just kind of started doing these really cool songs. And then like he like did songs with like Eric Bellinger and people like that. Like kind of unexpected people in that world, but I'm really digging it. And like Bonnie and Clyde is like a big, I think, indication of like big things to come.
Yes.
Actually, the single that's coming from, or like the lead single that's coming from his upcoming album is called D Half Moon, and it features Geico of Dynamic Duo.
Oh,
so I always
okay.
love what he does. So I'm very intrigued to see.
Yeah, I like that he has these really, really respected artists, and whether it's whether it's rap or R&B, and then he'll go with a more kind of experimental production sound.
Yeah.
And I think we just don't see a whole lot of that in the Korean music industry.
No, not at all. And like, he's done a lot of cool things. I'm trying to think of like some of my favorite stuff by him. But he's just doing a lot of cool stuff, and I'm very excited to see what happens with him.
Absolutely.
What happens with him next. I really loved Pour Up with Zico, if you remember that song.
I have not heard that, but I
you
will
gotta
listen to
check
that
it
after
out.
this.
Cool. All right, and then last but not least in our music section, we just wanted to give a quick review
of Hyomin from T-ara.
Yes, she just came back as a soloist once again. I am going to kick it off by saying I think Gold is like one of the most like accessible, probably like female solo songs I've heard in a really long time. I'm very impressed by that song.
I like that song too. I am okay. I'm sorry. I'm
Gina
very.
is being.
I'm being petty because I'm not a big T-ara fan, so I had like low expectations for this. It's not anything against Hyomin. I just like was never a fan of T-ara, but I will say that Sketch surprised me a little bit.
Really?
I like it. It's not like great. The music video, I was like, seriously, you like. It wasn't sexy to me. I felt like she was just like kind of trying too hard, and she was looking like she was in like a gentleman's club or something. And but I mean, the song is okay. She looks great.
Sketch wasn't my favorite. Or I I can't say enough about Gold. I really like Gold. I just it's just very like, in my opinion, like very passionate.
Now, which one is the
awesome.
lead single that she's
So I think they're
promoting?
both lead singles, but I
Okay.
think I didn't see a music video for Gold.
Right.
I believe Sketches, yeah, the
Got
one that
it.
got the whole. But there's some interesting stuff on the EP. There's some jazzier things, but had to give
Okay.
a shout out to the T-ara fans are passionate fan base.
They are. And
so-
T-ara is give them credit for, being a very popular and successful veteran girl group.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So at one point, one of like very like biggest in K-pop. So it's very cool to see that. So cool.
All right. What's next? We got charts next.
Yeah, it's time for some charts.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna quickly go through the charts and see what's trending on the U.S. iTunes K-pop store right in this exact moment. So at number 5 is GOT7's "Can't." This is a track off their new album "Fly," which we were talking about earlier. And "Can't" is actually the one it stays in like that same kind of upbeat R&B sound.
I can't even comment because I haven't even heard this EP yet. I've only heard the lead single.
Well,
So
I'll let you know, Tina. It's one of the better ones.
okay.
Number 4 is a new song by K. Will, which comes off of the Descendants of Our
Oh Lord.
Descendants of Our Sun, like we were saying last week.
And
Descendants
this wasn't
of the
even
Sun.
on the top 5 last week. Last week we got 3 other songs on here. This is
Yeah.
another Descendants of the Sun song.
Yes, and this, like we were saying before, if you didn't hear it last week, this album or this drama is just so popular right now. And all the singles from this soundtrack are like trending everywhere, and
Yeah.
it's so cool because it shows that people in America are even watching this and
Right.
responding
Yeah, like
to it.
Yumire, Gami.
Yeah,
Yeah, we got
this song
a lot
is
of
called
veterans.
Yeah, this song's called "Talk Love," and it's the latest single off it, and it's once again trending high. So if you guys are watching Descendants of the Sun, let us know what you like the most because we don't know much about it, but we're very curious to learn. Number 3 is "Rewind" by GOT7. This is one of the standouts, I think, off the EP too. I'm a little sad that "Begging on My Knees" isn't in the top 5.
Who knows? Maybe after people hear this and they check that song out, it will slowly rise
You're right, maybe.
up the charts.
Number 2, "One of These Nights" by Red Velvet. So it's getting a good response.
getting a
I'm
good
actually kind of
response, yeah.
surprised. I honestly was not sure. I don't know. We're not
Right.
that into ballads here. So,
Right.
but I mean, well, look at K. Will. That's also trending high.
Right.
And then number 1, I think without a surprise, you guys should know it's "Fly" by
Fly.
GOT7. So, and I
Yeah.
think I saw that song actually in the top overall 200 songs.
That's incredible.
So good for them.
Good job,
GOT7,
guys.
guys are killing it. Let's get into the next part of our show, which is what we call Deep Cuts. And we want to talk about a little. So this past weekend was South by Southwest, which is one of like the premier industry festivals like in America. And for this is now its 4th year, but for the last 4 years, South by Southwest has gotten a really healthy dose of K-pop with their annual K-pop Night Out show. This show started in 2013. It was actually in a very small venue for the last 3 years called Elysium. It only held 550 people, but it got such a great response it actually got upgraded to a bigger venue this year called don't tell me. It's called Belmont, the Belmont, and that holds a little over it holds over 1,000 people in there. So that once again had people lining up this year. This year we saw groups like we had Dean, our boy Dean, we had Zion T, big R&B balladeer guy, big R&B, really like lots of number ones. Mamamoo, the girl group.
Yes.
Then we had a lot of indie rock groups, electronic groups, things that stray from your usual quote unquote K-pop,
Right.
but still representative of the Korean music scene. They had
Right.
groups. Love Extereo, Haim, sorry, I believe it's Hai. They're definitely not Haim because that's the
Right,
that's the girl group. Bye Bye Bad Bandmen, Victim Mentality, and The Session were all there.
Because you have to remember, this is still South by, so
Yes.
they are kind of more up and coming under the
Yes.
radar acts.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that's what they kind of play to, and then Yeah, and we had a reporter there, a Fuse reporter, Maria Sherman was there. She checked out. You guys should check it out. It's on FM.TV, which is Fuse's sister channel. And she wrote a review of K-pop's night out there, and she really liked Victim Mentality and Bye Bye Badman and Love Exterior. She said they brought like that rock sound, like that necessary rock sound to K-pop night out. But her standout was Mama Moo, and she said they really took over and they got like a really
Yeah, that does
awesome
not
response.
surprise me. I imagine their shows must be sick.
Yeah, and a fun fact: there's a singer. Her name is Sita Garrett, and she is like a singer-songwriter. She wrote this song from Dreamgirls, "Love You I Do," Jennifer Hudson's song from Dreamgirls, and that won her a Grammy Award. So she was there, and she just loved Mamamoo, and she said she wanted to work. There's this really cute interview, if you guys check it out. She met them, and she said, I want to work with them. So who would have thought, and that's exactly what South by Southwest is supposed to be about, is making these connections,
and these opportunities.
Yeah, because in the past, I don't know how much interacting has gone on in the past with K-pop's night out. I haven't been there, but I do know last year, Epic High, who headlined the show last year, they got a great response by just checking out different shows and seeing other artists and trying to make connections. And now you see Epic High, they had a huge summer tour last year. They're playing Coachella this year. They seem like a band that really use South by Southwest to its fullest advantage. And shout out to Dean, who not only played K-pop Night Out, but he also played the Spotify House, which is that is a huge opportunity.
Yes.
And Hype Track and House of Vans, they had a showcase as well. Those are the kind of opportunities that we need. And the thing is, and the important thing about this, and this is kind of what we want to talk about, is how Korean artists and K-pop artists are kind of getting more chances to be ingrained into the scene. It's not just they're sort of segregated into their own area. They're being embraced more in the overall sense. And we kind of want to give a little shout out and look to that.
Right. I definitely agree. I remember a few years ago in maybe '09 when Epic High did their Map the Soul tour. I think it was largely branded and linked to what do you call it? The Asian Pacific American Heritage Month. Yeah. So I remember going to their meet and greet, and that was heavily, I think it was like Verizon, and it was just, it was all tied to, you know, an Asian Heritage Month activity. And I felt like, a few years ago, it always had to be tied to something Asian related, and it's like very exclusive and kind of limited to just that audience, whether it's K-pop or the Asian audience. Yeah, and it was just very like kind of segregated. And now you can really see it being more smoothly integrated into the mainstream, so that, you know, with things like South by, like I never would have thought in '09, 2010 even, that like South by Southwest would have a big K-pop presence, because that's such a that's a very American festival.
Like so many artists get their first kind of buzziness out of South by Southwest.
It's very like kind of grassroots kind of
totally
big opportunity for advertising, things like that. Yeah,
exactly. And then you know, I totally know what you mean. I even remember as early or as most recent as 2013. I think BAP's first U.S. tour was branded with that Asian Pacific American. I'm totally jumbling up the word, but like you know, it was another Verizon thing, I think. And you know, even then, it kind of needed to be its own thing. But like, you know, if you remember, like there would be shows like in New York, but it would be very tied to like a certain holiday,
or it was like Chuseok, like things like that, or just like a one-off concert. It wasn't really kind of tied into more of like the American culture, I guess you could say, or the big. I mean, like even just like the concept of a Korean music festival, which. I was gonna go into KMF at Hollywood Bowl. That's like the closest we ever got to an actual festival show. But that was still like, it was a Korean music festival,
put on by like a Korean company,
like I think it was like was it like the Korean Times?
I think it's a
paper?
Herald or Time.
Korean Times. Korea I think.
Times.
So.
And we even got a comment on Twitter, just, you know, when we were talking about, you know, what do you guys want to hear this week? We got it from Smithers, who's at Dammit Kalia. I don't know if I'm exactly pronouncing your name right, but it's reading to me like Dammit Kalila. And they wanted to just talk about, the massive amount of upcoming K-pop concerts and fan meetings this year.
Sorry if that's not how you pronounce it, but we think it sounds badass either way.
Yeah, it is badass, 100% Smithers. But yeah, just even today, I think it was within the last couple hours, SHINee, who's never been to the U.S. before, announced a fan meeting in Chicago, which isn't on the coast. It isn't on one of the coasts, which are more accessible to get to for international acts. It's a fan meeting, and just like me, and SHINee's never been to the U.S. and they're choosing Chicago as their first.
I think they have though, because and I only say this because I was trapped at JFK in the little turnstile doors with Chonhyung, the leader of SHINee.
You were.
Yeah,
You're making a lot of people jealous. Right now.
I went for 2 p.m. because if you remember in Jersey, they did a big concert. 2 p.m. performed, SHINee performed, and 2 p.m. their flight was mad delayed. So it was like a 6:30 start time, and 2 p.m. landed at like 4:45 or something. So I spent the entire day at JFK, and I was like, let me just get there early, and maybe I'll see SHINee because I love Mino, right? And I love Key. Yeah, so sorry, I'm like going off on a tangent, but
Dina's exposing her wild days,
But so I think they were in the U.S. one time in New York, Jersey. So yeah, and
although I think right. So maybe I should clarify. I think it's their first U.S. solo meeting or performance of sorts. But who would have thought? And there's so many more that are coming. I think we got Teen Top coming, we got GOT7 coming, we got BAP coming. So many are coming, and it's so awesome. This is after, we had EXO come, we had a dynamic duo come earlier. We had, I feel like there was someone else, but it's really just awesome. And, they're not coming because it's, Korea Week or, or something like that. They're coming because they have a fan base and they're responding to their fan base. This is BAP's 3rd tour in America. I think this is Teen Top's 2nd tour. It's really awesome to see such a great response.
And honestly, I think Chicago is a great idea. It's very central. Like usually it's all out in LA, and then the East Coasters are like, well, now we got to fly like a bajillion hours to LA. So I feel like Chicago.
I'm jealous. I mean, I want them just to come to New York. I mean, come on.
Right. But I mean, I guess Chicago is very central, and like I feel like flights are always like there's always some flight deal to Chicago.
Good point.
Yeah,
O'Hare is very.
It's a very, and the Ubers are so cheap there. Like I feel like for the fan, this is good. This is
all right, Tina. I agree, I guess.
Come to New York, SHINee.
I mean, I really want to see them. I've never seen them live. I would love to see them.
Weren't they here for SM Town, or were they not here for that?
Fun fact, I only went to the press conference for SM Town, and I didn't get to see them. I think I had like too much homework that day or something. I was still a student.
Yeah. But it's exciting that they're doing like a solo thing, considering they are so huge and a veteran group.
I know, and it's kind of cool that like they're doing this for the first time, totally on their own. I'm excited, and it is very representative of what we were saying is that these Korean groups they're getting more ingrained in just your usual, typical. Lots of groups go out and meet their fans in Chicago, in America, but it's not so easy if you're in Korea. So that's so awesome to see. What else do you guys want to see like happening in like Korea and groups? Coming here, and who do you want to see who hasn't been announced? I could think of a few off the tip of my head, tip of my tongue, tip of my head, whatever it's called. Just because last year I think it broke the record for most K-pop concerts ever in America, and that was after we broke it the year beforehand.
Yeah.
So it's just
It's gonna keep getting bigger.
It's gonna keep getting bigger. We're hearing amazing things about K-Con.
Yeah.
We're gonna have some big stuff for that soon. We can't say too much yet,
that's
but
coming
some
up.
great stuff is coming with Fuse and K-Con.
Yeah.
FYI. But we're so excited for so many things. Great. Point, Smithers. We're excited to see. South by Southwest feels like representative of what's to come. Things aren't slowing down. Things are getting bigger. It's getting more naturalized.
And festival seasons, like concert festival season, is just finally kind of picking up.
Yeah.
Now that the weather is getting better, so I'm sure there will be lots to come this summer.
Yes. So let us know what you guys think. Let us know about this and any other topics we talked about in today's episode of K-Stop. As you guys should know by now, but just in case you don't, you can leave comments on iTunes. Please subscribe on iTunes. Please leave a rating on iTunes. We love that stuff.
Yeah, we'd really appreciate it.
Yes. So currently, we are being featured on the new and noteworthy section of iTunes podcasts.
Yeah, we're so
we're very proud.
and
We're
proud and happy.
Thanks, guys. We mentioned it last week. We won't gush too much again, but we're up there against really awesome places like Rolling Stone and whatnot. So very proud of that. And then yes, please leave us a comment on Fuse.tv. You can hit us up on Twitter using the K-Stop hashtag or our own personal Twitter accounts. I'm at Jeff__Benjamin.
And I am Hey_Tina with 3 A's.
And
we always appreciate your comments.
Yes, even if it's just to say, great show.
Or
not great show.
Not, whatever you want to say.
Or not your best.
We're receptive.
But luckily, we've never heard that yet. So thanks again, guys, for tuning in. We love you. Signing off from K-Town, this has been Jeff.
And this is Tina.
Bye, guys.
Bye.